You know what time it is. Welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. Ranhurt, Resident AP, plays mid in the styles of Shady.
Ranhurt? Hornet? Auslander? We haven't done the podcast in over a year. Does anyone even know who we are? Oh well, we need something new for 2014. Bad Administrator, thanks for the awesome song that will always be etched in my mind. Anonymous Killer, it's time to hear the new Trinity Force Podcast intro.
Tune into the podcast, killing everybody, taking dog tags. Dog, this is awesome. It's Optimus Prime and your quadrant and talking to you. Got that?
I was in a mind when I crafted this. The Dungeon Master's wrath with a dash of sick. I dash like Sonic Mad, not a pacifist, but pacifist the tracks when I'm rapping, kids. We the last of us, the master race. Take him with a master hand, it's cancerous. I hit him with the master sword, and sure I make a nice sword, but I wonder how four guys make a Triforce.
Hey guys, welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. You're listening to episode number 127. Sorry if the intro was a little loud for those watching live. I didn't really adjust anything. As you can see, everybody is here this week. Everybody say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh man. Yeah, if you guys were watching live, you got to hear the new exclusive intro made by Anonymous Killer. A killer. I'm not black. I'm going to need Sean to introduce this guy.
Anonymous Killer.
Anonymous Killer. You can find him over on YouTube if you search Anonymous Killer. I believe the channel's the same. It's Anon YMOZ Killa with Killa. I'll have the link in the description so you can easily find it. So you guys need to go check him out. He'll also be outroing the podcast with one of his exclusive songs. He did fantastic work for us and put this together in a couple of weeks with a beat made by, it wasn't Collective. Who was that, Claude? You got the beat for us.
That was Massive Banana.
Massive Banana. Yeah. Massive Banana is the name of the beat, but was that not who made it, right?
No, that's his handle.
Oh, Massive Banana is his handle. Okay. For some reason I was thinking it was somebody else. But anyway, so Massive Banana put that beat together for us. We had Anonymous Killer put the lyrics together. And if you guys haven't noticed, and if you've been loyal listeners to this podcast, you would have noticed that I've been using that Massive Banana beat to outro the podcast for weeks. So I kind of like foreshadowed it forever. But we finally got it around to put out.
Yeah, a few people have actually been commenting on that in the questions.
Have they?
Yeah.
Like asking what that beat is?
Yeah, they're just like a few people have been, yo, what's that beat? That thing is pretty good. They just keep talking about it.
Yeah, that was.
And I don't listen to the end of the show. I pretty much download and don't listen since I'm here always. So I had no idea what people were talking about. I'm like, oh, it's just some song. He found it on wherever.
Uh-oh. So yeah, there's the new intro. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed talking to people and trying to get it together. My favorite part of that intro is the outro where he says how do four guys make a Triforce. I made sure that got added to it. So anyway, that's enough about that. Guys, don't forget to go check us out at trinityforcepodcast.com. You can find our YouTube channel there where we upload ranked fives. And starting in the future, Sean and I talked about this today, so at least us two will be doing it. We will be doing 5v5 games for listeners, and we will be live casting the 5v5 games and actually talking about how you guys play the game and how you can get better. So it's going to be, and we're going to upload that to YouTube so you can go watch yourself. It's not going to be like an actual live casted game, kind of think like a Sub Wars, but in reality, we're going to be like rewinding the game and talking about the plays that are made. So guys, stick around for that. We're going to have an official date for those probably next podcast. We just started talking about those today. So other than that, that is the news. We have lots to talk about League, though. Lots. So
What's been going on?
LCS?
Yep.
Yup.
Pantheon was picked.
Pantheon was
picked.
Warwick was
He
picked.
murdered.
Trundle was picked.
Yep, Pantheon, Trundle.
I didn't see any of the games today. I had to go into the office. I had to leave my cushy apartment bedroom and go to a place where people are to work today. So I didn't see any of the games.
So you had to be like the rest of us?
Yeah. I don't know how you deal with it. It's terrible.
I put headphones in. And then I talk to you. That's how I deal with it.
How do you do with all the people who come to talk to you and have questions that need answering? I just don't know.
I've
been working from home for like 4 years now. I don't even know how to handle. I can barely handle social interaction when they allow me to drink. When I can't drink, I'm screwed.
All right, guys. So the games that we're gonna just go ahead and go over the first day of games for sure. and some of the games today. And I do want to start with talking about Alliance, because they seem to be the big. They seem to be the people that they had the most. They had the spotlight on them coming in. Froggen and Wicked's new team, bringing in Shook and Tabs and who's the last person I'm missing? Somebody, come on, don't leave me hanging there.
Yeah.
Right. So watching Alliance play here, like I'm ready to. So if you guys remember how they were talking about Hornet in the intro, I'm ready to stand on Hornet's soapbox here, because I've seen so many people, including like Monte Cristo and all these other people, that said Alliance is going to be the super team. They're going to be great. They're going to completely carry through the LCS. And after I watched that very first game, all I could think of was these guys are playing this exactly like solo queue.
Mm-hmm.
I'll play devil's advocate here. This is a pretty new team that has not had a lot of time to work together, and compared to the pressure that was on Evil Geniuses, who had to figure out how to come together in whatever, like a month or a few weeks just to get a spot in LCS, these guys already had their spot secured. So I don't want to say they weren't working or playing together and everything. They're professionals. They are, that's what they're supposed to be doing. But a sample of 2 days worth of games, I'm willing to cut them some slack. That said, they did have a ridiculous amount of hype surrounding them, and at the moment it seems like it was a little misplaced.
Well put. Unpopular opinion, Ponophobia is going to come out right now. And I feel like, okay, so I talked about last episode how I don't think Wicked is that great of a top laner. All he is consistent. And I feel like Froggen is the same exact way. I think there's too much hype around this guy to carry this team. And because of that hype, he's gotten a giant head because of it and thinks he's, like this. He said it in one of the interviews, I feel like I have something to prove. I feel like I should have gotten the Worlds to be able to prove to the world that I'm a great mid laner. But if you were that great of a mid laner, you could have been like Faker quality, and you could have pretty much put the team on your back and carried it. Granted, everyone else was doing their job, and like people like Wicked and Yellow Pete or not Yellow Pete, sorry, Crepo was doing their job. Snoopy was a little lacking when they were on EG. So now we're going over here into Alliance, and I'm watching Froggen play, and he has done nothing to impress me since Season 2 when he played in Nivea. And Nivea, and granted, we talked about it last time, like EG. Season 2 was their time to shine, and they never changed how they were play. But I feel like Froggen can only play a Nivea and Lux. That's it. Like he can play the other champs, he can make them work in a professional level, but he can't do anything that's like that's just outstanding and shines. I don't see him making Faker level plays like he thinks he should be making. And I think that
I didn't see the games the game today, so I can't speak further to that. They You're 100% right. They looked off yesterday against Copenhagen Wolves. I don't think anybody was too surprised when they lost to Fnatic, especially after how crazy that first game Fnatic, won. How crazy that game ended up being. Mm-hmm. So, I'm speaking with limited sample, limited authority here. That said, we're talking about 3 games here. This is a lot of very talented players, and we've seen teams stumble out of the gate. Fnatic kind of stumbled out of the gate, if I recall correctly, in Spring Split, and then went on to still win Spring Split. They won it. They won it both seasons. Gambit definitely stumbled out of the gate, especially after their strong showing at IEM, whatever it was, where they beat the Azubu teams, and then they're still Gambit gaming. They turned around and still put on a strong showing, and at the end of the year, they still ended up in the at Worlds. They even made it out of the promotion stage, group stage. There we go.
Group stage. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll give them that if they have some time, they'll play. But watching the first 3 games they played, and like you said, this is all the sample size we have. I watched Shook as Vi dive into the back line without, it just seemed like he was just saying, "I'm going," and then dove in. And it was like a play that I would make.
Yeah, and then the game against Super Hot Crew, Shook again. He kind of dropped the ball on that one. He kept getting caught out of position.
Or making engages that didn't need to happen.
Right, starting bad engages, and I don't know.
If you watch the game today, they played Trinity Force Malphite, LeBlanc, Kha'Zix out of the jungle, Jinx and Thresh. Was that it? I don't think it
was Annie and Ezreal.
Thank you, Annie Ezreal. Sorry, I was thinking of Gambit. Anyway, when you have Trinity Force Malphite, you have LeBlanc in the mid lane and Kha'Zix out of the jungle. To me, that screams we have 3. We have 3 big egos on this team, and these 3 big egos need to feed themselves and try to, and win their lane. And they need to be the star of the show. And if you watch Alec Ish play LeBlanc versus Oriana, he at least had control of the lane the entire time. And I would feel like LeBlanc could have control of Gragas, but never had control of the lane like you would expect a LeBlanc to have in today's games. And that's the problem with Froggen, is he doesn't have I don't feel like he has the twitch reactions that Alex Isha or all these other mid laners could, do or could have and have shown to have.
He started out well as LeBlanc. He was beating him in CS and keeping Gragas. Gragas was afraid, Moops was keeping back, and he respected LeBlanc's burst early on. But then Gragas got to that point where Gragas always gets to, where he's an insane bully. He stays in the lane, and you can't back because he's going to keep pushing it. Mm-hmm. And his barrels start doing enough damage. He gets his Theans, and all of a sudden he's popping entire minion waves. And now you can see the CS catching up, and everything the scale started tipping as far as that mid lane, which was the strength for Alliance in that match. So once that started going, it was pretty much good game.
Right.
It was upsetting to watch because I saw them as the underdogs, believe it or not, looking at this the game the way they were playing, and I always root for the guys who are doing poorly for some reason. So it was disappointing for me.
Who doesn't like a Cinderella story? No,
Exactly.
I acknowledge that they're a new team excuse is only going to fly for so long. Like really past week 2, you can't really cite that as an excuse for poor performance anymore. But I think it's highly likely that they haven't really figured out like what the team style of play is. You have right now, it's like you said, you basically have 4 or 5 solo Q stars coming in and trying to figure out how to make a team that works together. And SKT is very much an exception to the rule. Most teams are going to be looking like Fnatic when you try to put this many big name players together in one place. They're not going to just immediately click off the bat and really be firing on all cylinders and everybody, basically reading each other's minds. And that's kind of where you need to be at. Like, you just have to know not only how your opponents are going to play, but like how your teammates are going to handle certain situations. And right now, like very clearly based on the results, these guys are not working together in that in that capacity.
Well, they'll have more time to play as the week goes on. We still have 2 more days of EU playing, or 1 more day of EU. No, 2 days of EU playing. Then they play all day Saturday and Sunday for NA, if I remember correctly.
No, I think it's...
Is it 1 more day and then 3 days?
1 more day and then Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tomorrow they face off against Rocat.
Okay.
And that's it. That's it for them.
I'll give Rocat the one that I'll give them the loss, or Alliance the win, I should say. But speaking of Rocat, they were the one who ran Pantheon mid.
Yes, they did.
That was awesome.
They did.
And it's gimmicky is not the word, but I don't see that comp like working as well as it did too many times, if nothing else because people will see it coming, at least against that team. But it was really fun to see that comp get played and work as well as it did.
I think people, because you don't see enough Pantheon, forget what he is capable of with the man drop. Like, you were used to Malphite diving in on you. You know that's going to happen. You don't have to group up. But then there's this big circle around you as Malphite is running down the lane to engage. And you in your head, you're kind of like...
Right, you see the circle and you panic. You're like, I got to get out of this circle.
Moment, yeah.
And you don't see the giant rock flying at you. And
Well, the first Wombo with Malphite mid that I saw in that game... they didn't have time to see the circle. The initial circle was visible to his allies only, and then Malf hit them, and that's when the circle that's visible to the enemies came up, and he dropped down on them. They were still stunned from the Malphite initiate.
You see both circles, though, because there was 2 points in that game. No, there was 2 points in that game where he was because you can't cancel your ult once you get into the air. And when you get in the air, that's when you see what you're calling a second circle, right?
No, right. When you start
the actual Pantheon player here.
Exactly. Yeah. As a Pantheon player and as to the spectators, you'll see the initial circle come up before he jumps in the air. Once he jumps in the air, the circle appears for the enemy team.
Maybe it was the spectator thing because he tried to ult twice but canceled it right away because there was a point like by right
you'll notice the circle will kind of flash, and as a spectator it'll kind of flash and get brighter. That's when everybody can see it.
It must have been the spectating thing. The reason that we could see the initial circle.
But yeah, that is a deadly combination. And I'm surprised how well he did in the laning phase against Gragas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He had the Crystalline Flask start, and he had enough in utility for the biscuits.
Did he?
So,
I didn't notice that.
Yep.
Was that 9 in?
It has to be, yes.
Yeah. So he had good. He built himself to stay in the lane, and it
I
worked.
don't remember. I don't remember.
Is
who
that
it
all he
was.
needs from? Because he probably took mana regen. Is that really all you need to get the job done with him now?
Apparently, like I don't go in utility. I just put 3 in for the movement, and then I just keep buying blue pots.
Are you gonna try it? No, I'm just curious because we're having this conversation.
I might. I tried the crystalline flask start in the beginning when crystalline flask was first introduced. But yeah, I might try it. I might try it out and see how it works. Seeing as it's successful in the LCS, it's still watching the game. The laning phase was almost as boring as it is in the top, which is where Panther normally is. So,
and you expect it to be boring. Gragas just like you said, Gragas plays back early and then can eventually catch up in CS. But I was really surprised at Pantheon CS. In the mid game there because he was even with Gragas when Gragas was powerful.
He did a good job on that. So that build works for it, and he played. Obviously, he's a pro player. He did a good job. So I don't know. I'm excited that it happened.
We saw that last season. We saw CLG play Pantheon of the jungle, and it didn't work out so well for them.
Oh, Jungle Panth.
Well, I mean, the thing about him out of the jungle is you have to make something happen. Like you have to make it count every single time you gank, and like getting a flash out of a gank is not good enough for a jungle Pantheon. You need to get kills because otherwise he's just going to fall behind. But when you're getting
really fast, if you don't,
and that might not be the case.
Them often and early.
That might not be as much the case now since they have upped the jungle revenue stream, but I still like him better out of a lane overall.
Me too. He's pretty slow in the jungle. He's like Warwick slow in the jungle without as much dueling power.
I'd still much prefer him mid than I would top because you can get donated those blues, and after around level 5 or 6 you get the blue.
Spam that Q all day.
And then he can definitely keep up against. I think with Heartseeker Strike, he can keep up with the Gragas.
Plus, you can jump anywhere on the map with shorter foot traffic. So
and he did. His first jump was bot, and it turned to engage.
Yep, I remember that. And it turned it in their favor thanks to that. So
so it's like a TF, but a melee TF without the. Yeah, it's like a melee TF kind of. Just
so props to Overpow for that that pick and that play.
I really hope he runs him frequently. I kind of feel like we are missing a lot of signature champions, at least in North American and European on the LCS side.
Well, last season you had Meteos on Zac for a good part of the season.
Yeah, but a lot of people were like Zac was really just the meta.
He was really popular.
Everybody was using Zac,
but not
like
using Zac out of the jungle. They were using Zac in the top lane during that time, and he brought Zac out of the jungle. That's
okay, but like Dyrus used to have a bunch of signature champions,
Singed and Jax.
Right.
Yeah, but that's more than really. I mean, like I feel like we're missing out on a lot of signature champions these days, and it would be great to see Overpow sort of bring that back. And I mean, like Froggen never really. I mean, he really just stopped playing Anivia.
Right.
People stopped banning him and like to bait him into playing Anivia because Anivia wasn't working, and like now he doesn't play him or play Anivia whenever she's available.
Right. Well, it's hard to have a signature champ right now with the way the game is going. And we'll get into this discussion more when we talked about patch 4.1, which will be a little bit, in a few minutes from now, because there's definitely a point that I want to make about how top lane and jungle are going to be changing with this new patch. So perhaps those things like Rumble, balls on Rumble could eventually come back. Mm-hmm. And that's a signature champ for balls is Rumble.
For sure.
And Dyrus is, I would say Dyrus kind of has Rumble too, because he's played a decent Rumble throughout the split last season when it was more powerful. So
though he did say he wouldn't be playing Rumble again.
Did he really?
Yeah, after he's like, I'm not going to play Rumble and throw for my team at Worlds again.
I don't know. I remember there was the XDG when we talked to Gnome, and remember that?
Yeah, she dove or they dove.
He got a double kill.
Yeah. No, I thought he was always
I
great.
remember watching that and just be like, I couldn't believe that happened. He played it perfectly. He played it beyond perfectly.
Right. And we can't forget to talk about Fnatic and how they're playing. Right now, they are looking phenomenal.
Yeah, they're looking really good.
Oh, they look great. They're scary
Yellow
as
Star
shit.
looks amazing.
Yellowstar and Reckless.
Reckless is
or
like
Reckless,
living up to the hype that was surrounding him.
I know, because he played at IEM Cologne, right? That was the IEM. And
Battle of the Atlantic.
Yeah, I was about to say, and for like they had a shaky Battle of the Atlantic start, but that is behind them now. They dominated the past 2 days.
I can't help but wonder if just having those two events before LCS really helped him a lot, like really helped him readjust to being on the large stage. Because he played with them at, IPL, whatever it was, where we had the Season 1 and Season 2 World Champion rematch, or World Champion match, and that was cool as hell. Mm-hmm. And that was where everybody was getting really excited about Fnatic again. And then for age reasons, he couldn't be on the team. But, between that IPL event and IEM Cologne, I want to say it was, that's a long time, and it's really easy to fall, to forget how intimidating and how much pressure really gets put on you when you're on a stage of that size. So I really, just having those two events, regardless of Fnatic's performance, I think those did wonders for Reckless, and he is showing it now.
Absolutely. But I think he needed that time. That's probably what Alliance needed too, was to have those at least one tournament, maybe a Battle Atlantic style before this, to hash out what they were missing. I don't care if you're scrimming, because obviously CLG had won 4 out of 5 scrims before Battle Atlantic and then got dominated. Mm-hmm. So, scrims, while they're good to keep your abilities up, they're not a strong indicator of how the team is going to do against against the high quality teams,
especially at crunch time.
Right.
Well, and don't forget about Yellow Star.
Yeah,
making amazing plays.
Making plays.
They gave Yellow Star Leona yesterday.
Yeah, I was talking to him like, why would you let Yellow Star have Leona? He's been like, that's been his champion pretty much since he turned to the support role, and he got into a groove with her and he just never looked back. He was putting on clinics with Leona at Worlds, and everybody's like, is Yellowstar going to even be able to perform here?
Right. Well, fun fact, the bottom lane hasn't died yet.
I know. 26-0.
I know. That's why they're
That's
aren't they
nuts.
leading the stats, the two of them, even though Yellow Star's not getting the kills. It counts for his KDA just because he's not dying.
Reckles has the highest.
See, that's why I've always
like
OGN does kill contribution, and it's like it's a percentage of, or what, I don't know what the exact stat is.
Contribution for kill.
Yes, I
where
really like that stat.
It's your individual kills and assists divided by the total team kills. I like that stat for junglers and supports especially.
Yeah, it looks like the top 3 performers are all Fnatic. It's Reckless, Yellow Star, and SOAS.
Dom. Microphone.
Oh.
No. He was agreeing with us, and his microphone took a dump real quick. Hopefully, his Audacity does not cry because of it.
Right.
We don't have to splice things together.
Can you hear me?
Again.
Yes,
there we
I can
go.
hear you.
Yeah, I gotta do Audacity shit. Sorry.
All right, stop it. What time is it? Sorry, guys. We gotta get Audacity going because we are recording another podcast as well. Just I'll do you a 3, 2, 1 click, and you can click it.
Yeah, just a sec. All right.
3, 2, 1 click.
Sorry about that.
All right, 24:45. I got it down here, so I can add you back in. 24:45. Okay.
There you go.
Sorry, guys who are watching live. We are getting back here. Okay.
Forgot what I was saying. Oh, I was talking about CFK. Do I need to go back into that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Contribution for kill is your individual kills and assists divided.
Microphone.
My
again.
face when.
Your Audacity's covering our faces in the stream. There we go.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Here, I'll move it over.
And you hear me again?
Yes.
Do I just need to?
Yeah, we'll just start again. We'll just start from again, and I'll write it down.
This is weird. All right, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1 click.
There we go.
25:51. Okay.
All right, I'm not going to talk about CFK because that seems to be what's doing it here.
It's a curse. It's your bad luck.
All right, we'll move into talking about.
Should we talk about Trundle?
Trundle, yeah.
Oh, that Trundle pick. I've been saying that was going to be a good pick.
Go for it, Sean.
Okay.
Tell us about
I've been
Trundle.
saying this is going to be great with all the people playing sustained top laners because he's probably going to out-sustain you for the most part, and he's probably going to win early. And he may lose lane around levels like 7 through 11, but when the late game comes around, you don't want to be the tankiest motherfucker on the opposite end of a Trundle ult because you're going to die and he's going to be tankier than you are, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. You're kind of helping the other team. I love it. I'm so happy Trundle was picked.
The only problem I have with Trundle is he has to build a Blade of the Ruin King at some point to be able to do damage. Yep. Yes, he's fantastic in lane. Yes, he can stop a lot of the top laners in his tracks. And yes, he's going to be good in 4.1. The only problem I have is if you are there to do any sort of damage and you have to build away the Ruin King, but if you're fighting, when you're playing with Trundle, it is better out of the jungle with him, or fight in the river, or fight in some kind of narrow space, because that pillar turns fights around.
Huge. And that's the difference between solo queue Trundle players and like seeing Trundle at a really competitive level. If you have people that are on the same page when you pillar, it is so much more devastating than just throwing it up and hoping it slows somebody.
Right. The people
problem is lack of wave clear, though.
That's true.
It is abysmal.
Yes. Well, the people asking about why you need Blade of the Ruin King on him, it's because he synergizes with lifesteal because of his W.
Health regen.
He gets or it is passive, tons of health regen.
He gets the extra damage automatically from his Q when he hits somebody, so you don't need to build raw damage on him.
Right.
And the Blade of the Ruin King enables him to be able to shred tanks, so he's better at dueling in a 1v1 situation.
More attack speed with
yes,
his W.
and attack speed's huge.
And attack speed is what you want on him. He doesn't need any other damage, like maybe a Sheen if you want to go with some kind of damage item. A Sheen in Iceborne Gauntlet isn't bad. A Sheen into a Trinity Force is even better because it adds more damage than he allows him to speed up.
If you're fetish shit and you get the two of those, we've won a 4v. I mean, we've won 4v5s in ranked because I was fetish shit on Trundle with the Blade of the Ruin King and
right. And so if you watched the Trundle pick before, he went Giant's Belt, Cutlass into, I think he finished Blade of the Ruin King and then went into Spirit Visage after that.
Yeah, he finished Blade.
Right. And the only problem I had with his build was in the circumstance of the game going against Mundo, I think a Kindle Gem would have been the better buy early rather than the Giant's Belt because Kindle Gem gives health and CDR.
CDR.
And CDR is big on Trundle, too. You need that extra CDR. But a Giant's Belt still isn't that bad of an idea because he does
As a Giant's Belt, it's pretty much always a good buy.
Right. But if you watch the game, I think he was potentially going to build a Sunfire Cape first, but then got a couple kills in between there and was able to build the Cutlass into the Blade of the Ruin King.
Yeah, he got the Warden's Mail, too, towards the Randuins, and I agree with you. I think the Kindle Gem would have been a better buy other than the Giant's Belt, since he was maxed out on his face, so.
Right. So, yeah, I think we'll see more Trundle, and talking about more of the top lane champs that we're going to see is definitely going to be Warwick. I said on Twitter today, I am 75% convinced that Warwick is a good top lane pick. That last 25% is one going against higher ranked teams like Fnatic or maybe some of the Koreans and seeing how they deal with him. But also, he's pretty easy to knock somebody off after he's ulted them. If you don't understand how to use the ultimate, or even if you do, it's pretty easy to interrupt that ultimate. And two, all he brings after the ultimate is he brings the best attack speed steroid in the game. It's better than Nunu, and that's it. He brings an attack speed steroid.
Other than that, he's a body.
One of the first things he did while right after that the Warwick game was say, yeah, we're going to be nerfing that W because it's just a ton of free stats and that's ridiculously powerful. But that was in the Warwick rework that they've been talking about for a long time. It sounds like that is going to be happening much sooner than we anticipated.
It seems like they'll push it forward too with the recent surge.
Well, fun fact, Sotir, when he was on the podcast, actually wanted, so this was like season 2, early season 3, he wanted more Warwick to be played because of the attack speed steroid. He was always curious why people didn't pick up Warwick because of that reason.
I think it's
such a good one.
He's so hard to bully out of lane, and I mean everything we've highlighted, and I think people have always been hesitant because of his ult, but it's sort of like if you think the only reason a champion is good or bad is because of the ult, then you're probably not looking at the champ in the full light. I mean, truthfully, in season 3, we saw a lot of new champions come to light just because of the way the items got reworked. So this isn't that surprising to me, and it's cool to see champions we haven't seen recently.
Right. Yeah, he brings lots of sustain. He can beat out Mundo. Late
game, he's borderline unkillable.
Yeah, he just becomes unkillable in lane. You can't stop him.
He's a
and
monster.
that's always been the MO of Warwick.
It's just other than that, what does he really do other than the free stats, which I don't think people have ever really caught on to, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you have to remember that Warwick brings lots of free stats if you can get that W on your AD carry. And it's like we've seen Nunu twice, and Nunu had once in the jungle and once as support, and neither time has won. But that's because Nunu can't be as big of a lane bully against a Doran Shield Thresh, for example. So it has to be like one of those perfect scenarios to get that free stats from Nunu. But I'm interested to see what's going to come out. And I think this could, do we have more to talk about? Are there other games we want to talk about before I transfer this into 4.1?
I was just going to make a comment on Warwick's mana problems, but it looks like Darien, you got a chalice each time to take care of that. So.
Against anyone who's doing mixed damage in your Warwick, why wouldn't you pick up a chalice?
Right.
Exactly. For Mundo, especially for the cleaver hit and everything, but...
Yeah, if you guys are out there right now and trying to figure out what the next OP champ is, just pick somebody who has mixed damage, or find somebody that has mixed damage.
Watch the Jax make a huge comeback.
Didn't you end up playing Warwick? And was it just you and me, or was it a full group of us when you ended up playing Warwick?
It was a group of us.
Okay. I don't even remember the conditions, but you were not happy about playing Warwick, and it ended up being exactly what we needed for that game in order to win.
Yeah, I did another one when we played against each other. I was Warwick when poor Chiro was the Udyr against. I was Star Top.
Bait him. And he's like, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. And oh shit, there's a wolf.
All right. Well, let's get into some 4.1 discussion. Wait, how far are we in? Oh, this is perfect. That was 30 minutes in LCS. Let's do 30 minutes on 4.1, shall we?
Works for me.
All right. So, guys, as you know, the 4.1 changes have hit, which leads us into Season 4. In the next few days, they say Season 4 is going to come around. And, oh, thanks, Dom. All right, we got to stop for a second. Dom's mic's back.
I caught it this time.
Okay, can we do a click again? And give me another timestamp? You know, with 3 files for me. What a pain in the ass.
You need to figure out what the hell.
I know, this is awful. I know what the problem is. I just don't know how to fix it. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right.
Making you earn that 100K.
3, 2, 1, click.
There we go.
33.50. Sorry, guys. I'm going to keep apologizing for those watching live. 33.50 for Dom. All right. I'm going to start back up on 4.1 discussion. So as you guys know, 4.1 has just come out, and in the next few days we will see the rank stats reset, and we will get everything. Everyone will drop down to more of a normalized elo. We don't know the exact formula. Last year it was your elo plus 1200 divided by 2, 5.
Yes.
What was it? 2?
It's 2.
Yeah.
2.
Well, I was thinking 5. I don't know why that was right, but anyway, divided by 2. So if you're like, I think we were trying to figure this out. If you're like number one, if you're in the first division, you're going to drop down depending on how high you are.
Second.
You're going to drop down to like 4 or 5. Like if you're gold 1, because they're going to normalize it to 1200 elo, which is silver, because they want to. Silver is like where everybody's at. So like we're now plat 2. I'll probably, assuming that I win all my ranked matches, I can land up anywhere between plat 5 and plat 3. But it all depends on how many of the placement matches I win, and you have to win. Like I think what I say, the first 3 are the most important ranked matches that you have to play. And you have to win. So no pressure for those guys out there who want to get your rank back that you've worked so hard in the preseason. But with that said, lots of changes are coming out. And we're going to start with the top lane changes because there have been changes to Rengar, Shyvana, and Riven. And these all affect the top lane. These also affect mid lane with Riven. There have been changes to Sunfire Cape and Spirit Visage. And Olaf and Darius have also been changed, and we'll go down these changes. So right now, Rengar got a nerf to his W, the healing amount in his W. Before it was 40 times 20. I don't have the patch. I didn't bring the patch. It was like 40 times 20. Now it's 20 times 20 plus 1% of his missing life, or per percent of his missing life.
Yeah, I would say wait for his his rework that Skarzard was talking about, and shelf him for now because those look pretty severe.
You know what? I think it's more of a way to try to get him back to his assassin role than his sustaining tanky role he's in now. Because W gives you free stats. It gives you free armor magic.
It's not just that. It's even if he builds tanky, he can come out and one-shot the AD carry if the team, like your team's not paying attention, doesn't get on him quick enough.
Supposedly you can do the the 3Q or whatever it is, the
The triple Q, yeah.
Yeah, supposedly you can still do that.
It says fix multiple bugs that allowed Rengar to use savaging more frequently than attended. I would assume that they.
I don't know.
I hope they fixed it.
I was at work. I couldn't watch videos or look into any of that stuff. But there were posts about it that I saw.
I gotta say, I'm really sick of going into games and Rengar's losing lane, but coming back and just picking off people in the jungle or whatever with.
I think it's funny that you've seen Rengar lose. The only time I see Rengar lose is if you're maxing Q over W.
Oh, I've seen
I
him.
can see that.
I've seen him lose if he doesn't build tanky. I've seen Rengars try to build assassin.
Yeah.
And they fail miserably. Like the game I record on my YouTube channel, the Pantheon game, I was against Rengar. I melted him. I was even surprised. I was like, wow, why am I destroying this Rengar? Rengar's a beast. He's tough to kill. And every time he came to lane, I would rotate him and kill him.
Yeah, literally a beast.
But yeah, so I even put the comments in my YouTube video. I'm like, this is what happens when Rengar doesn't build tanky. Because if he built tanky, he would have had me bullied instead of the other way around. Right. So
I don't think this completely kills Rengar in the top lane. It just makes him easier to manage. He's not completely immovable,
which he kind of needed. So
he definitely needed.
For a manaless champion. Yeah, he definitely needed the nerf to his sustain, that heal.
Yeah, it was 40 plus 20 times level. Now it's 20 plus 10 times level.
Yeah, and it's a little bit more powerful, I guess, based on how hurt you are. So it helps you when you need it more. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll mess around with him a little bit, but I'm still excited about the rework. Reading what Skarzar was saying.
So, side note, I'm actually Mubi. So Mubi's listening to this right now, and he's tweeting, and he's posting Xerath's new particle effects. I'm just waiting for him to post the R particle effect. If you guys listened last week, we were joking around about how it looked like he was spitting or.
Oh yeah, just like those little popper things that you throw at people's feet when you're a kid, the little firework things. That's what it looks like. Pew, pop. Horrible, but that's his ultimate. He's like, my ultimate! I'm going to shoot across the map. Pew.
Yeah, if you guys go check out at Movie, he'll also be at Surrender at 20. These new particles look much more much better. Anyway, let's get back into 4.1. Sorry to derail. I just thought everybody in the podcast would like to see that if you have your Twitter open. They've changed Shyvana. Actually, it's quite of an extensive change with Shyvana.
Yeah, they nerfed the shit out of her passive damage.
Yeah, so her W now does reduce. Damage per second has been reduced. Minimum magic damage reduced. Maximum magic damage reduced. And this is her AoE magic damage burnout spell. Everything has been reduced. So it's more of like it's not too big of damage per second because it was 2540 for example. Now it's 2035. So it's just it's like a 5 damage reduction across the board. But the minimum damage has been reduced by 15. So everything that the amount of damage you're going to do is obviously reduced, and so it's going to be harder to push the wave because Sunfire Cape is not going to do as much damage as it did before because Sunfire Cape has been, I think, essentially halved at level 6.
It has, yep.
Right. I mean, it's just been
it lost its early power.
Is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not doing, and that does magic damage as well, and you have to itemize completely to stop all this magic damage. Which is funny that like Shyvana got these big nerfs. They're lowering all the magic damage she does. But I think it's funny that they're touching Shyvana, but they don't look at the masteries or they don't look at Mundo at all. So everything we're talking about here, like in a vacuum, that
at the end of the day, Mundo just got better.
Yeah.
Well, okay, and you're correct. Mundo did just get better. The thing is, you can ban Mundo, and like you can leave Shyvana. In theory, you can now leave Shyvana on the board.
Microphone again.
Dom, you're such an asshole.
Damn it.
Are you leaving us, Dom? Hold on, guys. Yeah, killing this podcast. Oh, he's gonna get a second microphone going. Okay. I think where Dom was. So Dom had just started talking about how now you can leave Shyvana on the board because she's not as big of a threat as she was before. Like early, she can do a lot of magic damage early against the right champions, and she does a lot of magic damage in mid and late game. That's where everything came from. Was you have to itemize to stop this magic damage when you're facing a champion who's melee, and you would expect it to do physical damage. And that's kind of that was the Udyr problem, and they fixed Udyr in the top lane because he was doing so much magic damage all the time.
And building AD.
Yeah, while building AD. Right. So Like, if you watch Darian play Shyvana, he's built a death cap to allow, because E has a scaling AP ratio, and W has an AD ratio on it. So it's the same thing. It's like that. It's that Udyr syndrome, But I like that they've touched Shyvana in this way, because before, Shyvana was a giant pushing machine. She could proxy farm very easily. She could jump in and do lots of magic damage. And now
wave clear is great.
It has made her easier to manage in the top lane. But looking at this in the vacuum of there's always Mundo to fall back on, if Mundo isn't banned, there's no reason to pick Shyvana.
I'd agree with that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
It probably sounds like shit.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I just went with the webcam microphone because I don't want this to interrupt anymore. So I don't know what the deal is.
Can we still do Audacity with it? I'm not running call graph.
No, but maybe, but no, it's not picking it up in Audacity. Can you export the video of it?
I'm gonna have to.
Or the audio? Yeah, sorry, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have a fix for this, so.
Okay, I'm just gonna have to try to figure out how to export the.
Sorry, guys, I really don't know what the issue is here this time.
Okay. This is gonna be a really fun podcast to splice together.
Hey, at least we have a cool intro.
Hey, at least we have a cool.
I'm really bad. I feel really bad, but
I'm here to pick you up when you're down, Adam.
So those guys, sorry that we're 42 minutes in, but Dom's microphone is obviously having issues, and we're fixing it. And he's gonna use his webcam microphone from now on. So if it sounds like shit, and it's gonna clip like crazy. So
yeah,
that'll be fun. You might want to sit back when you're talking a little bit.
Sit back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yes.
Yes.
That's closer,
much
warmer.
better.
If you sit close to it, it clips.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially when you get excited.
And we know how excited you get all the time.
Recently excited.
Just try not to talk for the rest of the podcast.
Okay. I'll do that.
Okay, so we talked about that. Unfortunately, so I really want to talk about Riven and the changes it had, but without being able to play Riven, I've played Riven like once in my entire life, and that was back when she first started, and I was trying to build Sheen on her.
Oh, jeez.
2, I've only watched Riven being played, and 3, I can look at the nerfs and say she lost a lot of damage early, but she still scales into mid and late game well with the changes. That is the only assessment that I can give of looking at Riven and these changes.
And you lose a whole second off the duration of your shield, which is nice.
It needed
That'll
it.
I'll be landing a lot more spear
it
shots
seems
on her.
like it's going to make her more manageable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's
But they
less of a I'm going to insta kill you at level 2, 3 bully if you're not sitting way past your minion wave.
Yeah, they didn't reduce the power of the shield though, which is still pretty insane.
I know, well, what was it, 4 or 5 podcasts ago, we talked about how we can change Riven to make her a little bit more manageable. And Dom, you can still talk if you can jump in. Just don't get excited.
I don't have anything to contribute here. We're talking about top lane. It's
right.
That place scares me. I don't want to get near there.
It's foreign territory.
Okay, so all these changes. Let's just Riven, Shyvana, Rengar. We all know they've been issues since mid season 3 or so, or really the preseason is when Rengar really became the big issue. Shyvana has always been an issue. People just haven't picked up on her, and Riven has been an issue since her release. So with all these people in mind, and looking at this in the vacuum of Mundo is now perma-ban. Every team is going to ban Mundo, okay? That's where we're going with this conversation. The changes to Sunfire Cape and the 10% reduction of CDR on Spirit Visage, I think this opens up top lane and jungle to a wide variety of new champions.
Much more than it currently is, definitely.
Right. I think right now, if a Mundo is banned, we can see Rumble out of the top lane. We can see Jax more often. We can see Tryndamere. We can
see Trundle.
We can see Trundle way more often. In the jungle, we can see Fiddlesticks. We'll still see Elise. We'll see Olaf in the top lane or jungle. I think we'll see more Nocturne because Nocturne can start synergizing well with like Rumble, and I think Shen will make a comeback in the top lane as well.
Do you think the Darius changes were enough?
No.
He
still needs to be able to he still needs to be with a team that either needs to be with a team that can do the damage or he needs to do the damage himself. And
yeah,
I mean, I think that Darius changes make him better in Arams or make him better in Twisted Tree Line or make him better in Crystal Scar. Yeah, just think about him in Crystal Scar now, because he has 20 seconds to run from one point to another. That's about how long it takes you to get to a point, right?
No, that it won't matter that much in Crystal Scar, but it will matter in Twisted Tree Line.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Darius. I think Darius is still pretty balanced. I don't see
He's
him
great
being
for solo queue. Fantastic for solo queue.
Still really good.
I don't see him being that poor of a pick, and this just makes him a little bit more annoying, because every time if I would get a kill with my first Noxie Guillotine, I would notice that I'd run out. Oh man, it's on cooldown. I thought I got the killing blow with it now, and I try to hit somebody immediately with it next. But here it looks like you might be able to chain a couple kills. So
yeah, because it was 12 seconds and now it's 20 seconds.
Yeah, right.
It's just a buff that needed to happen. I don't think it makes him any better or worse.
Right, it's a tweak kind of buff. So
it's a quality of life thing.
Well, yeah, right. It makes him better, but it doesn't make him any worse.
Of course, if it makes it better, it's not going to make it worse.
What about that Evelyn change? Ooh. Ravage is now physical damage. I don't get that. Why they would do that?
And her missile speed. Evelyn got Evelyn'd.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Yep, it's happening again. It's her curse.
Yes, because Evelyn in Season 1 had a stun, and then they took that away, and suddenly she is no longer useful. And then they eventually rework her, and she's fantastic, and then they change her again, and she's no longer useful. And then they change her again, and she's good. It's like, it's one of those champions where if you just change little things about her, she either comes good or bad, but they completely gone from little changes to I am going to completely change her kit. I don't understand there's fixation with Evelyn and wanting to make her do attack damage.
Well, what's funny is the only thing that doesn't deal or that doesn't scale with AD is her ult.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's dealing magic damage with Hate Spike, and now she'll be dealing physical damage with Ravage, but they both scale with ability power and attack damage. Attack damage is the same on Ravage as it is with ability power, and the AP scaling is slightly better on Hate Spike, but, like, I don't know, I guess, like, she's definitely a straight hybrid champion at this point. They could, like, maybe you could reasonably see an AD Evelyn right now, and that's kind of frightening now that I'm really thinking about it. I don't think people are going to do it, but if I saw somebody building AD Evelyn, I'd be like, actually, that makes a lot of sense, just given the way her scaling works now.
Mm-hmm. Well, that missile speed on Hate Spike, though, it went from 2,000 to 1,200.
That's the big nerf. I mean, Ravage gets 100% bonus attack speed.
Mm-hmm.
For 3 seconds.
So
like,
you're saying
if you're building if you want to go that route, I'm just saying if you're building AD Evelyn, like there's a lot more damage there than we're giving credit.
Honestly, I see her now kind of like a Vi in the sense that if you got fed early from some ganks, you can build damage. You could definitely go Sheen because you're spamming an ability. But if not, you're gonna have to build her in a tanky. But she has no really great engage. Like if you're gonna build a tanky, you have to run a submarine comp, like a Twitch. You have to run Twitch, Eve, Shen.
They not only did they shift the power from AP to AD, but they also shifted the power from her Hate Spike to a Ravage. So now she's more Ravage centric than Hate Spike centric, I think. So when you build her AD,
which is weird that they would do that because Hate Spike is, I mean, it's still the lowest cooldown far and away.
Right.
You know, a second and a half compared to 9 seconds on Ravage. You know, you're just, and
right.
it's flat in both cases. It's not like leveling up Ravage makes it so that she can use it more frequently. So it's like she's still going to be leveling up Hate Spike just because you get to use it more frequently and you can rely on that damage more often.
Fratma's Evelyn. We're going to see it.
Fratma's? Oh, Jesus Christ.
You might not be wrong.
Fratma's Eve, I'm calling it.
I hope we never see Atma's again, even though we saw it today.
Who played it today?
Triforce Malphite put Atma's on him after Sunfire.
Yeah. Was it Wicked?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, it was Wicked.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't work out too well.
But here's going to be a Fratma's, Frozen Mallet, Atma's, Evelyn.
Right.
Running around Ponin.
I am not convinced that Evelyn is going to be the end-all be-all anymore. I think this is a very poor change to a champion that was powerful because of the vision changes. I think this is a fix that needed. In my opinion, she needed either how vision work needed to be changed, or her stealth needed to be changed for her to fit in the game right now, because she's so powerful because of vision. The lack. That's
probably what makes her so difficult to balance. Why Riot's kind of hitting all these other aspects.
Well, she was easy to balance before when you could spam wards, right? Because you could do as many pink wards as you wanted, and you had oracles and stuff.
Well, and oracles was a thing.
Right. So that was, granted, that's not good for vision, but that's good for dealing with Evelynn. But now that they've changed vision, and there's a complete and total lack of vision come late game, because most pro teams are purchasing 4 to 5 sweepers if they're ahead, and they're denying vision rather than
sweeping everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like 3 is the sweet spot for sweepers on the team.
Yeah, I think Fnatic, and was it Fnatic? Earlier had 5 of them. And they were just trying to completely deny vision. I don't remember the team. I just remember seeing 5, and I went, wow. Even the AD carry had a sweeper. So
yeah, hey, as long as your support's doing a good job with the Sightstone and
what you do is put wards in.
You should have 4 out at all times.
Well, 3 plus
3 regular and then the purple,
right?
The pink. So
right. So before this podcast ends, because it's been such a strong topic, I already know my stance on this. I know Dom's stance on this. I don't know, and I know Chira's stance on this. We're gonna talk tower changes, and I have a feeling that a lot of people are gonna be very upset with us and our stance on the tower change. And I don't feel like the tower. I feel like the tower change is a non-issue. I understand the argument that I've seen that it is going to kill 2v1s, and I understand the argument. I get it, and I can agree with it if that is what you're focused on. But watching the pro games today in EU LCS, out of 9 games we played, I think there was 1 game where there was a lane swap, and I could even be wrong with that. I'm pretty sure there hasn't been any good amount of lane swaps, and there hasn't been for a while.
I just don't care. Whether or not it is an issue, I just don't care. We've seen so many of these types of changes in the last year that I don't understand why people are surprised when they happen.
Right.
I get why people get up in arms about that, because if it's a quality of a game that you like and it get changed, okay, it's the same as your favorite champion getting nerfed or whatever. But I mean, to me, it wasn't a quality of the game that made a difference one way or the other. It makes for, or 2v1s make for interesting game dynamics when they happen, and when they, otherwise, we see the game unfold in the normal sense, and it just I don't care.
Anybody right now, this is all my opinion, that anybody who is complaining about the game becoming static with a 1-1-2 lane needs to look at the LCS, because that is mostly what is being played right now, because they still want that dragon control, especially now that dragon is worth more gold as the game goes on. It is better to have that control of dragon than it is to push out the early towers.
Frankly, what we might end up seeing more of is jungle pressure in the bottom lane, despite the 2-0 lanes and despite the extra wards, because that's a tower you can take early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm all for
that. I don't want them to I don't want this change to be there anymore.
Of course, being a support, I'm all for going against the meta and trying new things and making different things work. And this is kind of the man trying to rein it in and say, no, you're going to do it this way. That's where all the uproar is.
I don't think they're. But see, this thing, they're not trying to make it that way. Riot has come out and said they've said, we just want
they want it to be a choice.
They want it to be a choice, and I don't understand the people that are screaming. Riot is forcing 2v2. They're not forcing 2v2.
They're not. They're showing. They just want to be a choice. Say, okay, you're going to risk possibly losing your bottom outer turret quicker if you do a swap. Right. So all it did, it looks like all this did was it weakened all the turrets inherently, and the bottom turret didn't get that 20 damage reduction buff.
And bottom turret now doesn't have the armor buff anymore.
Well, none of them do.
Right.
So I don't know. It seems it's making all the turrets a little bit easier to take. I mean, 20 damage reduction from champion basic attacks is what the top and middle get, but they're still losing the bonus armor magic resist. So Ziggs, when I hit it with my passive, or with a Sheen proc on that turret, if I have a Sheen that early, but still, it's still going to destroy
mid lane right now is not. Mid lane is mostly taking damage. I would say, for the most part, at least 60% of the damage that goes into a mid turret is minions. It's not champions in mid lane. It's pushing that wave, letting minions attack it. Because how many times do you actually get to walk up there and attack the mid lane turret? It's only when that person leaves lane. Or you push the person out of lane.
Yeah. When I bully my opponent out of there and the jungle's not there to get there right away, as Ziggs usually.
And you don't do any damage as Ziggs on a turret.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Well, I mean, I get it that you have a passive and everything.
You do a ton of damage.
And you can charge it. You can charge it as you throw your abilities and boom, it's back up again.
My point is most mages don't do a lot of attack damage on a turret. And more of the damage is coming from the minions than it is actually the person. Ziggs was a bad example because Ziggs has a passive that as damage.
Well, mages get a modifier for their AP as well.
Yeah, but early game. But you don't have AP. You don't have AP for the first 8 levels. Because you have to build, sustain.
Or
something.
And like you said, at that point, that early, you're probably not going to be doing that much damage.
And that was the first 8 minutes of the game before when it had the armor and MR buff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't change mid lane at all. It just changes the risk reward for sending someone top lane. And 2v1s, in my opinion, should be used to shut down a laner. It should be used to deny CS from somebody. And
I can agree with that.
You're risking. I mean, a part of that should be that you're able to take that turret early. I agree with that because you're also putting yourself behind. But you have to do it when you believe that your duo lane is going to become more powerful than their duo lane in a farm fest.
Right, and if you're going to push the turret, you're going to roll 4v2 or 4v1.
Well,
it's because your jungle in there and do a real quick push.
You read their comp and they picked a top laner who's not going to handle that type of duo lane really well, and thus you can pick a top laner that will. Like there's it really just adds to a bit to the mind game during Champion Select, which is cool and fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I agree with your guys' stance that it's not going to be too impactful.
I think, Dom, you need to make the point that you've been making across the board forever, that this is the most efficient way to play the game. And people that are bitching about the top lane having that change, I think they're not keeping in mind that Dragon isn't in the top lane, and that's why your 2v2 isn't in the top lane. The meta isn't going to change.
Oh, I just keep saying that the solo jungle duo lane is the most efficient way. Whether the duo lane is in a 2v1 top or a 2v2 bot doesn't change that the solo jungle duo is the most efficient way to play the game. And I mean, people that's the meta. That's really what the meta that's the be all end all of the meta. And whether you're running Kennen as a support or Janna, it's still a no CS income champion that's getting played in that position. So to me, when Edward tweets he's breaking the meta, it's that's not really breaking the meta. You're just picking
I didn't even get to yell about that. Damn it!
You're just picking an obscure champion into that role. Good for you, but it's not like they suddenly split the CS between Genja and Edward during that lane so that he could get super fed and carry that game. No, he played Kennen the same way he plays every other support. Now, it was fun to see an interesting and very different champion picked in the support role at competitive play, but that's not breaking the meta.
No, they said they needed more damage, so he fulfilled that.
More damage.
Yeah,
if you need more tankiness, you pick Leona. If you want your team to die slower, you pick Maokai. It's just...
And look what happened in the game with Alliance against Super Hot Crew today. Froggen went top a couple times to double team Mundo with Wicked, and it cost him Dragon pretty much every time. So, and then of course Shook getting caught out trying to cover mating.
I know we're at an hour. Can I stand on my soapbox about Edward? Because I completely forgot about
it.
Let me hear.
I've been waiting all day for this.
Okay, so Edward tweeted, "Breaking the meta, GG. I'm putting words in his mouth now. I am the best at this game. I am so good at coming up with awesome strategies."
He did not do it. All he said.
No, Dom. I said I'm putting words in his mouth. I said I'm putting words in his mouth. But he was being arrogant and totally full of himself when he said this. Breaking the meta. I'm doing the asshole persona, and it really boils my blood because Kennen is not a reliable stun, and the only thing Kennen brings to the team is he allows you to poke the enemies out of the brushes, and that allows you to do extra damage to the enemies, putting them into an advantageous position for your jungler to gank, because now you have bush control and the enemies have to either engage on you to stop you from doing that, or they have to play back and allow you to free farm. And that's why I don't feel like Kennen or Amumu at all have ever been meta-breaking picks. They're not like Annie, where I'm going to sit down and go, wow, Annie's amazing. She can do level 2 kills. She can do level 6 all-ins. Oh, my God. Like, when I watched him play Kennen, he had one fantastic ultimate, but at the same time, Leona could have done the exact same thing. Leona could have caught all 4 of those people in an ultimate. And that's when I look at Edward and say, Edward, you're not breaking the meta with Kennen. You're just playing something. You're just playing a disrespect. You're playing a disrespectful because you understand that you have Diamond on Lee Sin and you have Alex Ish on Kha'Zix, who went like 10-0
Who they're
and
dominating
11.
it on, by the way.
Yeah. Like, I could play. He could have sat
insane,
in base and AFK'd for 45 minutes, and Diamond and Alex Ish would have won the game for him.
Well, pretty much to sum it up, can you play support? Sure, I can.
God damn it.
Fuck! God damn it!
Who did he run today for support? Since I didn't see the games, he ran Thresh. I mean, so here's the other thing. I mean, like it's not like you saw him running Kennen against Fnatic.
Right.
Exactly. That's why I said it's a
No,
disrespect.
he definitely ran a normal support against Fnatic and everything.
Support.
And like that kind of ties in. I mean, it might be disrespect. It might be just seeing what he can, what really works on stage and everything. I'm not really going to call one way or the other just yet, but he definitely, when he knew the game was going to be intense from start to finish, he wasn't taking a risk like trying anything cheeky like run and support Kennen.
No, he won't, and that's kind of how I feel about the Warwick pick. Like that's why I said it's 75%. They haven't picked Warwick versus Fnatic yet.
I mean, and frankly, like credit where it's due, Fnatic broke out Trundle. Nobody saw that coming. Fnatic broke out Trundle against Gambit.
You're right.
Like
Right.
if you're taking taking a risk.
Edwarded Edward.
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
I mean, I can be arrogant at times, and I have my unpopular opinions and all that stuff.
Yeah,
At times.
Never. I've never in my life been arrogant. I don't know what you're talking about.
Everything you say.
And here's the funny thing. Like, I'm standing in my soapbox screaming about how Edward's treating the situation. But I've said in the past that if I was a pro player, I would get up on the microphone and act like Kale Sonnen and just go completely off. I've ranted about this on podcasts past. So really, I'm being hypocritical.
Gonna become the heel,
when I talk
Adam.
about this. Yeah, thank you. I'm pretty hypocritical, but I just can't. I don't know. It's a way to get fans, I guess, is to be arrogant. Maybe that's why people hate me and love DeClaude, because DeClaude just sits there and smiles and makes stupid puns while I rant about it. I'm like Hornet. God damn it.
Wow.
You're Hornet
He took
now.
his soapbox.
Fuck.
Dug it out of Sotir's closet.
Well, can you see the disappointment on my face? I just had a realization. Fuck.
I'm the new Hornet. Yeah. You are.
Oh, God damn it. This is what happens when you actually pay attention to esports. I have nothing to say.
Well, we all like we're racking our brains to try and think of a better insult, but no, you pretty much did it to yourself there.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it. We're done.
Yep.
We're done with the podcast.
We're done.
That'll finish it.
GG.
Wrap it up, gentlemen.
Guys, don't forget to go check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/T-Force Podcast. We go live every Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We actually made it to 40 people, which is for 2 weeks. I can't complain about that, considering we haven't been doing this very long. And twitch.tv/T-Force Podcast. Don't forget about the t-shirt store. Please go buy t-shirts. We want to see those at Worlds. We want to see it come across the camera with you guys holding up t-shirts, like shaking them and stuff. I know it's going to be in Korea, but everyone's going out there for it. So T-Force Podcast.
Yeah, I'm totally going out there for
I'd
it.
love to go out there.
And that'll be it. Guys, please go check out Anonymous Killer. He's doing a fantastic job. Link is in the description, and it'll be on the website as well. So that'll do it for episode number 127 of the podcast. Please excuse Dom's awful microphone.
Frankly, just please excuse Dom.
All the time. Thanks for listening, guys.